46 is a pretty weird character. They're a child, as evidenced by them not knowing big words. The therapist talks to them in a different way than they do Vanessa. They like candy, they don't fit in their chair that well, but Vanessa fits in the chair perfectly. And that doesn't really work for like a demeanor argument or a spatial argument, so it's not like this is an alternate personality of Vanessa. This is being treated as a kid who is smaller. We also know that she's a girl because every single localization refers to her as such. Like, every translation calls her a girl. And these are official ones. This isn't like some fan-made thing. We know she doesn't like sunlight. She has a favor towards more like a cubbyhole kind of environment. But she's also, weirdly enough, a hacker. And she likes to make the animatronics more uncanny. We also know that at several points, the Pizzaplex staff caught her on camera talking with someone with bunny ears through a distorted lens or field, whatever. Point is, they couldn't really make her out, but they could tell it was her. She also seems very excited and comforted by the concept of wearing a mask or hiding behind another lens or identity, which is interesting. We also know that her family is weird because her early therapist believed it was something tragic to be sad about or upset about, or at least something that a child should be more upset about. But her final therapist says she had a great family and was lying about it. Interestingly, it stated that she has a very objective understanding of her own trauma, which is pretty interesting. It's almost like she had the story told to her and was reciting it rather than outright saying it, but I might be reading too much into that. She constantly asks herself questions and always gives back an answer. In fact, she is so obsessed with asking herself questions and learning about herself that she makes software for this sole purpose. But it's interesting that a therapist notes that this software also allows her to talk with someone else she seems to be manipulating, which is pretty weird for a child. Alright, let's change gears to the post-it room. It has post-its everywhere, and if we look at these textures, we can see a sort of evolution in the writing. Early on, it's very crude and pretty much incomprehensible with only the most basic messages. Then there's this kind of middle phase where the writing makes sense, but it's still very rough. The final phase is still rough by a relative normal person's handwriting standards, but is a lot more discernible and irrational. It also does look like this is all the same person writing it, even though there are some differences. Mainly because this obsession with happiness, this imagery of three people constantly is always in it. They also say a lot of the same general stuff, so I just find it hard to say this is two people talking like some people have theorized. I think this is an evolution of a kid or person becoming more and more aware. I'm hesitant to say it's a robot, but that is worth considering. Alright, let's get right into the main bulk of the theory. This writing is 46. 46 is constantly engaging with self-dialogue with herself, and we see that Posted Kid's writing is very similar. The earliest notes that are crude are in binary, and one of them reads, "Why is I?" And we actually get a response to this. "You are family." Our other binary comment is responded to later, which the original binary comment is hide, to which is responded no hide later. The sketchy writing does this also several times more. Stop, go, you, me, hello, goodbye. There's also a comment that says this is my home in the scratchy loose writing at the beginning, and in the more solid airbrushy kind of writing it says home, home, home written later. We also have a kid in a dark basement who talks to themselves, which is basically 46's whole prerogative, so that lines up also. Not to mention, all of the words are very simple, just like 46 doesn't understand big words herself. Now, through 46's therapy tapes, it's pretty obvious she's connected to Afton somehow. I mean, even if she's only connected through Vanny, she is clearly still connected in some way. It's also worth noting what Afton was prior to Security Breach, the Glitch Trap virus, or Code Demon, or whatever the hell Glitch Trap is. He was not this physical body at the time. Alright, let's flip over back to Help Wanted and notice that Glitch Trap can possess humans. This is inarguable. Or manipulate or brainwash. Whatever he does, he can do it to humans because he does it to Jeremy. Jeremy, when possessed by Afton or being manipulated or brainwashed by Afton, talks to himself in the dark constantly after that happens. In fact, this gets so bad that to stop Afton, he cuts off his own face. It's also worth noting that Vanny also talks to herself in Help Wanted, so that reinforces that Glitch Trap's possessed victims talk to themselves. Now, it's worth noting that Posted Kid seems to have some visitor that appears regularly, enough for them to have to leave comments about what they want. Early comments are stuff like, leave, grown-ups only, which implies they're being visited by a grown-up, or maybe that they are a grown-up, but I don't think so based on the rest of the writing. But other stuff is like, pepperoni, share, hello, goodbye, as if there's someone else there that she's talking to, but isn't leaving notes, because there aren't direct comments to these ones, really. To me, this reads as someone being visited by presumably Vanny, because she's the only human here, and it's going to be kind of weird if she was visited by an animatronic, and there's no implication of that, so we're going to assume it's Vanny for this argument. That Vanny is visiting them and giving them what they need to live or just stay in that environment. Early on, Post-it Kid says stuff like, "Leave, this is my home," but by the end, they are happy to see Vanny, saying hello, and then getting sad when Vanny leaves. Goodbye. There's also this one post that reads, "I can feel it," where Post-it Kid is presumably being possessed by Afton, which is what they're feeling. We also see constantly throughout the notes that there's a group of 3 here, and I think we can pin it down pretty easily. 46/Post-it Kid, Vanny, and Afton. I mean, this is everywhere. They write this almost as much as they write happy. This imagery of 3s. For example, fun, 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 play, 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 home, home, home. But now let's get to my favorite pieces of evidence. How Fnaf AR implies that William is brainwashing a kid with chocolate chip cookies. In AR, Ness, which is Vanessa's name, worth noting, searches up how to induce compliance in human subjects, note the plural, and how to induce self-compliance. I mean, that implies that Afton has multiple people being possessed. But what's more important than the plural is how Lewis responds to this. Chocolate chip cookies typically do the trick for me. And lo and behold, 46 writes, "Let's get snack," and an image of a chocolate chip cookie. In fact, sweets are littered everywhere throughout Post-it Kid's notes. And guess what? 46 loves sweets. In fact, everything about their notes implies they're just being let loose in the Pizzaplex to do whatever they want. This also lines up with 46 being caught in the Pizzaplex multiple times. What this all reads to me as is William is letting this kid live this ultimate perfect fantasy life in the Pizzaplex in exchange for loyalty and subservience. This also explains why the kid can write in binary. I mean, not only are they being manipulated by a virus, but they're being trained to be a hacker, so they would know how to write in binary. Could it be them being a robot? Maybe, but also, like, why aren't there other, comments like this? Why aren't all of their early comments in binary? It reads more like as a connection to this whole hacker trait of 46. This also perfectly explains this whole fake family premise. She did have a nice, real family before she was taken from them, presumably by Vanny, because I don't think Glitchtrap had a body at this point. Or if it did, I don't think he could kidnap a child at this point. Whatever it is, my point being that she isn't lying. She thinks she's part of this family now. And she doesn't remember her actual family, which has been erased. But it still happened. She still had that family, and the therapist found the actual kid's family. And as soon as she brings it up, that therapist goes missing, which reinforces this. She doesn't want the therapist to know who she really is because Afton doesn't want that. Afton doesn't want to lose his minion. Vanessa still seems to have some level of lucidity and awareness of who she is. She has comments like, "I learned to lock him away," but then she backs up into stuff like, "I need to listen to other people." And Jeremy sliced his own face off, Tape Girl tried to splinter Afton into pieces, whether she succeeded or not. It seems like Afton is learning from his mistakes and picking someone easier to convince and control. I think this also explains why everyone is after Gregory in this game. Maybe he just reminds Afton of Evan, but also he needs another child to work for him because they're easier to control. He wants to kidnap Gregory and make him just like 46. This is even foreshadowed by one of the final few post-it notes. I mean, we don't know the exact order of the post-it notes, but it's in the sketchier stuff, and it's the only time this happens, so I think it's one of the final ones. 46 draws more than 3 people, a 4th person. And since it's the only one like this, I think this is either a request, a sort of premonition, or them hatching the plan to get Gregory in their arsenal. Alright, that's all pretty straightforward. 46 is just a brainwashed girl working for Afton.
You know how there's always that part of the theory? You know what I'm talking about. You're looking at a Reddit post or somewhere else. I don't know where else people look at theories. Or you're watching a MatPat video. And then there's that portion. The part that confuses you. The part that makes you wonder, what are they on about?
I hate that I'm right about this stuff. We're in that part of the video again. For some reason, there's also a lot of good evidence that 46, or at least Post-it Kid, is Charlie. The door to the room is called Charlie Door, and the lights over it are the colors of her bullies. And this specific name for the door never appears again in the game, so we can assume this is meant for this specific door. In their notes are also the colors of the armbands, in fact, a circle next to the color green about an armband. They also draw an image that says, all my friends, with an image of 7 kids. The 5 MCI kids, Evan and Michael, or maybe herself, it doesn't really matter. Point is, we have a pretty easy way to get this count. Charlie also fits the gender for this character, too. Not to mention, there are several Nightmare On plushes hidden throughout the game, and hidden way more consistently and in way more difficult places than any other plushies in the game, I might add. This is a first for me, because I have no clue why this is being applied, and I'm just genuinely baffled by why they would make this decision. Like, it wasn't enough to have a new character that's a brainwashed kid. They have to be linked to the past, I guess, or something, I don't know. So here are my explanations for why in the story this is happening beyond the actual evidence itself, because there is evidence here, I just don't know why they're putting it that way. Option 1. Afton is just kind of arbitrarily trying to make Charlie part of his brainwashed family. No why, but he could just be making this brainwashed girl into Charlie, maybe out of some sort of twisted form of respect or jealousy of Henry or something like that, I don't know. Or maybe the funnier option is just that Vanny kidnapped a girl and he's like, well, I don't have a second daughter, this is the closest thing I've ever had to that, so I don't know. Maybe he just didn't like Michael and wanted to replace him with anyone else. The other option is that Happiest Day hasn't happened yet, and Charlie's spirit is being trapped in 46 to save Afton the trouble of dealing with them, and that's why they're not in the blob. They are now in 46. Or maybe she just was trying to save 46 and ended up getting trapped in her in the process. I don't know. No! Alright, sometimes people want me to use evidence from the books. In fact, I've gotten comments saying you can't solve FNAF without the books, which I think is ridiculous, but sure, let's play by that ball. Here is my book-based theory for Security Breach. Charlie is using the time-traveling ball pit to kick Afton in the shins. See, there's a ball pit in Security Breach. And there's the sun and moon in that room, which represents night and day, which means the concept of time passing. Hence, time-traveling ball pit. Guess what's in the rare find auctions? A time-traveling ball pit. Guess where's the last time we saw Charlie? In 6. With the Rare Finds auction having the security puppet also. She time traveled to the present, then Vanny Snapcracker pops her into a child. Simple as that. I'm curious if there's anyone who didn't understand that was a joke. Nah, there's gonna be someone. Alright, that's the end of the video. That's my main theory. I don't know why Charlie is back. I don't think she's a robot. I honestly have a video idea I've toyed with, which is just, oh, are robot children ever going to appear in the games? Probably not, or something like that. I also have a general security breach theory that covers most plot beats, but I think a lot of the good plot beats have been covered already. It might be called, Are We Just Stupid, honestly? I've toyed with that, but I don't know. I have my Michael Afton character analysis video, but that needs to be more refined and polished before I really work on it. I intended it to be this video, actually, but I kind of got cold feet on it, and I wasn't satisfied with the script as it was now. I really like the thumbnail I made for it, but it's going to be a while before that one's done. I might do another parody video, but I need to refine that one a little bit more, because there needs to be some level of, like, that kind of sounds like a theory, even if it's stupid. Anyway, that's all. Bye!